So turning your free trial users to paid customers can be very challenging and can make or break your SaaS. But UserPilot can save your SaaS. I'm Udit Goenka, the founder and CEO of PitchGround, and welcome to the second episode of Interview CEO, the exclusive interview series for our platform PitchGround, where I interview the brightest upcoming SaaS founders and CEO. And in this episode, I have Yazan, the founder and CEO of UserPilot, with me, and I'll dig into more about his life. So let's get started. Yazan, it will be fantastic if you can introduce yourself to the PitchGround members.
Hey, first of all, thank you for having me, Audit. It's a pleasure. My name is Yazan. I'm the co-founder of UserPilot, as you have introduced me. I've been in the SaaS business for around 5 years now.
Wow.
I have, worked on a lot of projects. And most excitingly is UserPilot, which I've been running for the past around 13 months. We are currently in Jerusalem, the east side, the Palestinian side.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just trying to revolutionize the way people or SaaS companies onboard their users, because we feel like it is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And we just wanted to have an easy to use tool to offer to teams.
That's brilliant. So you said that you have been in the SaaS industry for 5 years, and you have been working on UserPilot for 30 months. But how did you start? So which was your first project, and how did you get into the SaaS industry, and why SaaS and why not something else?
So I have actually lived in New York for around 5 years.
Wow.
And I did college there. I was mostly interested in the, as most people in New York, the financial industry.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming the next investment banker, and all of that.
All right.
But I've always had this love for software, because it was the only thing where you can actually build, imagine it,
Mm-hmm.
build it, and then you see people actually using
Right.
it. And it gives you such a good feeling to do that.
Right.
So I started doing computer science classes in college. It was too theoretical for me, but obviously it's something that
Mm-hmm.
also made me love it even more.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to just get into the business and start, and SaaS is pretty new. Like in 2000, this is in 2010, 2011, when SaaS was really young and nobody really understood SaaS that much. And so in 2013, I've started my first company around 21, 22.
Wow, nice.
I started this pretty young. Didn't know much. I just wanted to learn. Basically, as for any new SaaS founder, that where when you actually don't go to the enterprise and to the corporations,
Mm-hmm.
and you learn how to do it. Well, I think there's advantages and disadvantages of going to the corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest disadvantage is that you don't know how things are run. And with any first time founder, we've had a lot of. I assembled a team,
Mm-hmm.
just a couple of guys, also fresh graduates, and we started seeing, okay, what are we going to do? We were obsessed with the idea that, okay, we should just have our own product and try to push it.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of SaaS just felt, amazing, that we just would work on one product and try to make it as good as it can be. And we don't have to worry about, just trying to, get new projects every month. That didn't work out very well at the beginning, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know what to build. That was the problem. And I think this is a problem that a lot of founders first time founders actually have is that, okay, so I want to start a company, but what am I going to work on? And I know a lot of people would just tell you, okay, then don't start a company if you don't know, if you don't have a problem to solve, then don't. I kind of agree and disagree with that, because honestly, from my experience in the past 5 years, if you don't get inside the market, then you're not going to know what the problems are.
Right.
If you just stay in the shower thinking about solving world problems,
Right.
most likely you will not
Right.
find the problem to work on. But if you just start with anything, then with time, talking to people, talking to users, getting into the market, you will find problems to work on. We just started working on random things, honestly, and it was pretty tough at the beginning because you're just coming out of straight out of college. You don't have a lot of money, and you can't really build a business that way. And so we just started, okay, we're going to learn how to do it. We're just going to start outsourcing for a little bit. If someone wants a website,
Right.
we're going to do it. Someone wants a CRM. We don't know how to do it. We're going to learn how to do it. And just try to get money. So the thing that got us into SaaS, which was the opposite of this, we ended up doing this for like 3 years, honestly. And during that period, we're just like, okay, what can we work on? What can we work on? And we, honestly had a couple of maybe 2 or 3 projects did not work out. I'm not sure why they didn't. Maybe I wasn't a good of a founder back then, as I am right now, or maybe it was the wrong time to work on them. We actually, the first product we did was a push notification system for mobile. It's just a dashboard where you can just segment your mobile users and push notifications for iOS or Android. But basically every project we did, we actually ended up gaining some money from, whether we sold the code or we got a couple of customers, but nothing really that got traction. And one thing in the past 5 years that I've been hearing is the word or the term product market fit. And honestly, this is like something that you don't know that it happens to you until it happens to you. And with all the other projects, we basically we never got to that point. How we started UserPilot was that we were working on a bot system. Even before bots were so popular, that was like 2.5 years ago.
So what you're saying is like UserPilot was actually a bot software before you decided to turn into something else.
We were working on a bot software, and UserPilot was the product. So basically, what we did, and believe me, you learn a lot of things, and people learn from failures. Even if you don't go retroactively and think, okay, what did I learn from that? Your subconscious or unconscious is already doing the learning for you.
Exactly. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, and we were just doing something back when the days where actually Drift was just starting out with their conversational sales bots or whatever. We were working on something, and we launched it, and we got maybe 100 signups, a little bit less than 100 signups, and I was shocked because most of them never came back. And I'm like, okay, we're doing something extremely wrong. We've been working on this for like a year, and it has all the things that you want it to have: automated messages. So it's just like a chat widget that you would just put on your website, and you can set up your bot to actually start having conversations with visitors using something we called a qualify flow. So you basically just like set up your flow, and then the bot starts asking questions in order to qualify them, and then you can natively like set up a meeting inside the chat widget. And nobody was using it, and I was like, okay, I need to talk to these customers. I've had conversation maybe with like 10 of them. They did not know what to do. The UI was complex. They just got in and they didn't find any value. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to create my own onboarding. So we created an onboarding for this, and it was like interactive and like it was beautiful. And one of my friends was like, you're basically sitting on gold and you don't even know it. How did you create this? Did you use a software? I was like, no. I mean, I've tried using a software, but all the software that I found were like things that you can't really customize, and they felt like that they don't really belong on top of that UI. And so we just, I was like, okay, I'm gonna basically do something that I've never done before, which is I've always, would build the product, then try to sell it. I said, okay, what if we build the product? We don't build the product this time, and we try to sell it before even writing a single line of code. Well, we ended up writing around 600 lines of code, which is a small demo. And we did it on top of Slack just to show people how it worked. And it was just like a massive success. We've got like, a lot of people. We started a lot of conversations with a lot of people. A huge number of people were interested. And basically that was the start. I felt like that was the start of something special and that we needed to actually turn our attention to. And I started like selling while my co-founder was like coding like something really quick in like a couple of weeks. And like my cold emails were working incredibly. I've almost got like, I know this sounds crazy, 50% reply rate, which was insane because I've done a lot of outbound campaigns before, and if you're getting like 5 to 10% reply rate, you're doing like extremely good. Well, I did use a hack to get to that 50%, but
what's that hack like, if you want to share it with everyone?
Yeah, so basically what I did was I was like, okay, instead of just getting an email list and try to bombard them with an email sequence, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go sign up to that product. Okay, and then obviously you're going to get an automated message saying welcome or whatever. I'm going to reply to that welcome message with the email of the person that I want to target, because a lot of times it's coming out of hello at whatever or info at whatever. I'm going to, go like talk to the VP of product or the VP of customer success. I'm going to include them in that thread, and I'm going to reply saying, I just checked your app. I like the UX. I have this and this and that. That you might be interested in.
So you went like very personalized at that point of stage. That's very good. And plus when you signed up, it felt like you're a potential lead for them. So
exactly,
if they don't reply at that point of stage, there's something wrong with their sales process.
Yes.
No, but it's very interesting to see your journey from making UserPilot a bot and turning it into a user onboarding. So how do you feel about that particular journey? And if you have to redo things, what is that one mistake you think you might have made, which you would not make that mistake ever again?
With UserPilot or in general during the 5 years?
No, during those 5 years.
I wouldn't just try to sit in a closed room and theorize with my team, because that's a big mistake. I know a lot of people say it, but you have that urge every single time. Because I've heard that advice before, but your experience is different. You have that urge when you have an idea and you see it, that you just want to start like building it without actually knowing, what to build. And I thought that, you could save yourself a lot of time and money if you could just say, okay, I want to know who's my perfect user persona that is going to be using the product. What if I could, make it as a challenge? What if I could sell this guy before I write a single line of code, or using like a really simple demo that I can assemble in 1 week, and then start having conversations. The most of the ideas that I have, or the first version of UserPilot that we had, which was after like a month, just 4 weeks, was actually a result of a really, really long meeting with a billion-dollar company. I know this
Wow.
is crazy to think about. How could you set up a meeting with a billion-dollar company? And I don't know if I should say the name. I could.
Go ahead. You can.
Yeah, so basically one of the first meetings that I had was with Fresh Sales, which,
Oh, nice.
um, they're owned by Freshworks, which is a billion-dollar company. And I remember talking to one of their product managers, and he was like, listen, we've been researching this for months. I was like, really? And he's like, here's our findings for the user onboarding process, like 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, this is gold, because these people actually have real problems, and they know what they're doing, and they have teams,
Mhm.
and if they have all these
And they provided you with the research, basically.
yeah, they actually did. I will never forget that. And um well, everything has its own disadvantages and advantages,
Right.
because you're not ready at that point. So at
Right.
that point, you're going to go there and you're going to tell them, yes, we can provide this and this and that. But in reality, like, it could be a curse, because you're going to lose a lot of customers
Mm-hmm.
if you launch too soon, or if your product is
Mm-hmm.
is kind of buggy. And this is like something that a lot of people don't understand, is that um, building things is hard. For people who have not done it, it's actually hard. It looks simple, but the amount of work that goes in is incredible.
It is. It
Um,
is. I can completely relate to it. Like the amount of work you put into every single product, or even every single line that you write, and even the further features that you are building can break something in the past that you have built. So I can completely relate to it. Like how difficult it is to build a super stable software that can not only just solve a problem, but can be very beneficial for people in the long run.
Yeah, and as you said, you might introduce a new feature,
Right.
and that feature somehow affects like something so deep in the code,
Right.
and like some bugs just happen. But like I think you just, like, with time and experience, you start like doing things differently, and
Mm-hmm.
in order to minimize that,
Mm-hmm.
and just like things work out. But yeah, that would be my my biggest mistake, that you're just having the urge to build too soon.
So I will ask you. My next question is, when people are asking for a lot of quick features, and they're just asking you, why are you delaying the features? Like, why is it taking so long, right? Why are you not pushing the features so quickly? And your competitors are. How do you deal with those questions? And what is your answers to that stage to your questions? Or kind of like threatening to leave you, but you still want to retain them. So how do you deal with that challenge?
Actually, this is very relevant to us right now, because this is something that is happening to us. So we recently had a small launch, got over 200 customers, And a lot of them, they're asking, you guys have been quiet. What are you guys up to? And you're not pushing any new features. And I'll tell you what, people, and I'm gonna repeat my first point. People who are just your users, they don't understand the amount of work that goes into introducing a new feature. They think it's easy. And I actually was talking to a friend about this the other day, which is the different perspectives from, let's say, the customer, how they see things, and the developer. And that the change could be so small in the UI. Like, oh, why can't you just do it like this way? But the amount of work in the back end is so massive because the way your databases are structured or something. So for them, it looks easy. Like, why can't you just like do this? Like, this is number one. Number two, which is also frustrating for us, is the amount of work, for example, that we have done on UserPilot in the last 30 days is so massive. But here's the thing, it's not seen on the surface. Like in terms of the UI, it's the same. In terms of the features, they are the same. But the amount of work, like deep inside the code, trying to optimize, trying to make sure
stable.
like things more stable. So customers are not going to see that. And so they're going to come to you and say, like, when are you going to introduce this? When are you going to introduce that? And, my answer is always the same. Is we just, first of all, we have adopted a kind of weird philosophy at UserPilot, which is that we don't share our our plan for the new features, or our roadmap, as they would call it. We do not share our roadmap. It's internal, and this is just like something that we elected to do, even though a lot of companies won't. We want to work on our pace because the most important thing to us is quality over quantity. We don't just gonna keep spitting features when half of them don't work. And we have seen this happen so many times without mentioning names of companies that just go crazy with features when the core isn't even working. So no, just be honest. I would be honest. I was honest, and I said, right now we're not looking to be pushing a lot of features. We have some, obviously every month we're going to focus on one or two major features, but in the end we care more about, we promised you that UserPilot is going to help you do 1, 2, 3, and it's going to do 1, 2, 3. So for us, making sure that it does what it says it's going to do is more important than just spitting out features. And honestly, if you look at, I can give a couple of examples of like really, really, really big companies that, they became so huge and they lack even like the smallest features. For example, close.io. They until recently, and I'm not sure if they have them right now, but the last time I used it, and it's huge. They have thousands of customers. They do not even have email sequences. It's crazy. I think PipeDrive also, they did not have email sequences. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think I used PipeDrive a while back. And when I was using it, I don't remember it having sequences at all.
No, it didn't. And I talked to their support, and they said, it's some. I was like, how could a company that huge not have that? Like, if I'm doing sales, the first thing I'm gonna like pop in my mind is that, I need to put them on an automated sequence.
Right. If there is any kind of automation, basically.
Yeah, basically. And they didn't even have that up until recently. So and it depends on a lot of things. One of them is, who are your users? So maybe their users were like, old-fashioned sales guys who like to do everything, manually.
Right. I think it all comes down to how you want to position your SaaS or your company, and what kind of user base you are looking for, because there are people who are just hungry for something new, versus there are people who are just looking for something stable, and they're just looking for something more established versus something that is just starting out. So I think it's just a matter of perspective. It's just a matter of that ideal customer who is the right fit for you at that point of stage.
That's true. That's totally true. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so moving on. So let's talk about how did you meet your co-founder, and what was your journey with them so far, and what is the importance of having a co-founder?
Oh, it's massive. Especially if you're not technical. And I would say even if you're technical, having a co-founder is massive, emotionally, mentally, because the journey is going to be hard. Like um, this is for certain. And I met my co-founder right after college.
Oh,
So
that's
I
nice. So was
yeah.
it
So I'm
was it at the same college, or like where did you meet him?
No, it wasn't the same college. I was in New York, but I've met him through, I was talking to my brother-in-law about, just wanting to do something, start something in the software industry, and he is actually a professor,
Mm-hmm.
and my co-founder was one of his students.
Oh,
And
nice.
he's like, this guy is pretty good. So I just met him, and um, at that point we were both so naive that we thought, in 1 year, me and you were gonna be millionaires, man. Um,
So I think
so
it's destiny. When things are just meant to happen, they just happen, and the destiny just connects you from out of like nowhere.
yeah, it did. And here's what I respect about him is that after every single failure, I would just say, okay, we need, to start again. And he would not even like complain. So yeah, start again,
and
no
and, and
problem.
that
Start
makes
again,
a
no
and
problem.
that makes a huge difference, because when you have and when you can match the same mentality, it makes it so much more easier, because when you can feel that there is another clone of yours, it just makes it so much easier to
Yeah.
to have this amazing journey that you have begun with.
Oh yeah. It's pretty good. Plus also, when things go wrong, like being a founder is a lonely place. I know people say that all
Right,
the time.
right,
It's lonely because when problems happen, when real problems happen, and we know they're the next crisis. It's not a matter of if it's gonna hit or not.
right,
If it's a matter of when it's gonna hit. When
right.
that crisis hits, if let's say you don't have a co-founder to actually lift you up, you lift them up, um, and you just have like people, because I know a lot of founders would rather say, okay, I'm gonna outsource the technical work. Do you think that person that you're outsourcing the work to, when something wrong happens, um, they're gonna lose sleep that night? I don't think
No
so.
way,
That's
no way.
that's number one. Number two, when things go wrong with like a customer, I know like my co-founder, I was looking at the other day at our intercom, and the average response time is less than 5 minutes. I know it's not like amazing because we don't have thousands of customers, so it's easy to manage those. But I looked at like a conversation. It was at 3 a.m. and I was like, like, what were you doing? And he's like, I was actually sleeping, and I woke up to the push notification from him. I was like, I'm just gonna, solve this right now. And because they are technical, so let's say if I was there and there was a technical problem, I couldn't solve it because I'm not technical. I don't know the code. And do you think that person in I don't know where that you outsourcing the work to is gonna, if they're, with their family or
Mhm.
sleeping or whatever, you think they're gonna take time off and actually try to see this? So it's massive. I actually do not recommend anyone to start this without a technical co-founder. I really don't.
I
It
completely
just
agree
it
with you
just
on
it
that.
just makes such a huge difference.
It does, and it makes a huge difference. So, if you have to basically go back into 5 years again, um, what is that one suggestion that you will give to all the upcoming SaaS founders? That one suggestion that can just change their entire life and perspective towards uh, how they want to really start. That just one suggestion.
That's a pretty tough one.
Mm,
just just one suggestion. I have so many suggestions though.
which is the best one? Which is the first one out of all of them?
Um, just keep going. Just keep going. Things will fail. You will fail. 100%. If you made it actually from your first time, I'll be like shocked. I'll be shocked actually because unless I've seen people do it from the first time, but they were like working in startups, not even corporations. They were working in startups, and they were on that journey before. If you weren't on that journey before, you're gonna fail and try to. One mistake that I've done is that I was so arrogant that I didn't want any mentors because I was like, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. No, try to get someone. Try to talk to someone who's done it before. Um, and believe me, they're gonna have suggestions that will do 70-80% of the work with much less effort. Um, um, I would say just keep going because a lot of people just burn out.
Mm-hmm.
Too much work, and they end up just being completely burned out. Um, so yeah, that would be my suggestion,
Brilliant.
and try to do sales like really early. Like don't just say, oh, you know what, I'm the marketing sales co-founder, so I'm just gonna wait till my other co-founder finishes up the whole code. um no, just try to do sales as soon as possible. I'm not a marketing guy. I don't know much about marketing. um Maybe just a little bit, but I'm my with sales. I don't know if you need marketing. You're gonna disagree with me. I actually want to talk. I want your opinion on this. You're gonna probably disagree with me on this one. But I feel like in the early days, when you don't even know like who your target persona is, like what really what problem you're trying to solve and how you're gonna solve it. I don't think marketing is that effective. I would just go and do sales. Um, what do you think?
I think marketing is a very broad term, and one needs to understand that marketing is not just about paying ads or paying over here or paying over there or just finding people. I think marketing starts right from your heart, because if you are able to believe in your own product, then others will start believing in your product. uh, and I always say that start with your friends and family, because majority of the people, you'll always see that your friends are maybe doing something similar and might be looking for a solution. Start from them. You don't have to spend money over there. That's how I did. So when I started my journey at the age of 17, I started as a designer, and before that I was just doing like designing randomly here and there for people because they asked me to, and they loved my design. And it was one of my friends who suggested that, hey, why don't you start freelancing? And the term freelancing itself was a blue moon word for me, and I was like, what is the meaning of it? Like, I don't even know the meaning of freelancing. And he was like, "Well, just go and Google and start finding things." So I went ahead. um, looked out and landed on freelancer.com, apparently, looking for when I was looking for the meaning. I registered an account, and I thought like magically something will happen. Nothing happened. I just kept trying. I just kept trying. I just kept trying. I just kept applying for more applications. And I finally landed my first like logo design project from there. And that's how my journey started. And then I started understanding more about what people are looking for, what people are really looking to pay for, and how, and if we can really solve a problem. So that's how I started branching things out. Meanwhile, I made a lot of mistakes into the efforts. Um, all these ads and everything I feel are skills. So that skill can be learned by anyone. But when it comes to like core marketing, it just have to be you. If you believe in you and yourself and your product, then I think marketing starts from there.
Yeah, I like that.
So
I
that
like
that
that.
so that's what marketing is all about. You know, there is no rocket science to it. So for example, like I'm not going to brag, but look at PitchGround. In a weeks of time, we have like hundreds of users coming in, and we did not even spend the money on ad or anything else. We did not do anything, right? So we just wanted to provide value. That's it. And people are looking for value. And when you start providing value, and you really define who you are, people will join you. People will come with you, and people will really appreciate. That's what marketing is all about. So all these paid ads, everything else that you see, or people talking about SEO, they're all technical skills. They're all technical marketing aspects, but they forget that if your core base of your marketing is weak, even paying like millions of dollars cannot fix it. Look at Yahoo for an example. They try to spend like billions of dollars, and yet they're not able to fix it, because again, the problem is they don't have focus. They don't know what they're doing right now, and there is a downfall that's happening because of that. And that is the problem. So that's what I feel like. Just be yourself, just enjoy the process, and just let the way things are happening, and do not stress too much over things. Like I stopped stressing over things long back. So
Yeah.
now I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my process. I enjoy every single minute. I like every single day. I'm just waiting to wake up and get going with what I'm doing. That's for me is marketing.
I love your approach.
So
That's pretty good.
so that's what it's all about, you know. But yeah, so now with regards to suggesting people, so let's go into a bit of like nitty gritty in terms of like how you really proceed ahead, and how you approach new users all the time, or you're trying to acquire new leads or customers. So what is your typical approach, and what are the suggestions that you will give to some of the SaaS founders who's going to be watching these videos?
So technically speaking, you want to know what type of product you are selling. So um, the type of product that you're building is actually gonna change the way you're gonna do. First of all, how you're gonna structure your company, and
Mm-hmm.
how you're gonna do sales slash marketing
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So I subscribe to the the three sales model philosophy, which is self-service, transactional, and enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
So just look at your product,
Mm-hmm.
how complex it is,
Mm-hmm.
and is it something that can any user can just go in and start using it, maybe like
Mm-hmm.
Mailchimp. It's something pretty easy just to sign up and start using it. Or are you like doing something that requires a lot of
Mm-hmm.
integration, and you want to like maybe target the enterprise?
Mm-hmm.
So depending on that, I would think your approach would dramatically change, and your price point. So I think on paper, maybe there is that self-service. I don't think there's 100% self-service
Mm-hmm.
um, SaaS companies,
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, you're gonna have higher plans for other companies, and there's more integrations, more features,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for us, for example, we thought that the product is not that easy to use. Maybe well, obviously it's easy to use, but selling it is not that easy. It does require some integration. And so we thought, let's just try to do direct sales. So this is like what almost right now we are dependent on direct sales at a higher price point. But yeah, I mean, just like what. So a lot of people would tell you start from, the natural progression of a SaaS company is from self-service to the enterprise. So start with something really, really small that you can just give to users and they would use on their own. You don't need a sales team. You can do just a little bit of marketing. With a knowledge base and a small customer service team or whatever, and then naturally just progress in terms of price and complexity. But you don't have to go that way.
So what is your current user acquisition strategy at the moment?
Our main customer acquisition strategy right now is outbound. So here's what we do. It's something that I guess it's becoming more and more popular. Well, people know about account-based marketing. I don't know if, you can just basically, I took that idea and I was like, how can I do account-based sales? So that is our main philosophy now, is that instead of trying to get people to us, we pick, okay, who are we gonna sell to? So we would just pick maybe 15 or 20 companies a week. We start them on a cold email sequence. There's a link there. If they click that link, you can do a bunch of other things, but maybe like you can even, through your chat widget, greet them by name, by company, try to start a conversation, try to strike a demo. But rarely that happens. So in the middle of the sequence, you can hit them up on LinkedIn again. And we are integrating right now. If they click the link, just start showing them Facebook ads. So it's like so basically you're bombarding 15 companies, and this will stay for, so the sales cycle would maybe, it's 40 days. So if in 40 days you have zero progression, it might be time to move on. But just bombard them with emails, ads on LinkedIn, and you can use account-based sales like in a bunch of different ways. Like even the links, you can, like, it would be a special link that would take them maybe to a page where like you have like an automated demo for them, and you're greeting them by name, company, whatever. We're always experimenting with other stuff, with other like approaches, like maybe like videos, video messages, with maybe like us like talking about their product or showing them things like that. But be very specific. Like you don't want to send those emails to the wrong person. Like for us, we try to target product teams and customer success teams. So because those basically are the teams in bigger companies where they think about adoption, onboarding, and all these techniques, and they have a real problem that we're actually solving, is that they can't create these product experiences fast enough, and it actually takes a lot of time from the engineering, and we just try to solve that problem. But this is how it's looking right now, and I know this might not work for other. This is why I said it depends on your product. If I was selling a different type of product, that is like I'm selling it for $20 a month, I'm definitely not gonna take this approach. But when you're talking about an average selling price of $700 or $600 per month, it is worth it. It's worth it just to say, okay, I have these 15 companies. If I can move them down this funnel to a demo, and then during the demo just close. It's a long funnel. It's a long sales cycle. That's the thing. But I guess this is natural. The more you go towards the enterprise / transactional, the more you're hunting deer instead of mice and flies, and your prey is larger. Your sales cycle is naturally going to get longer.
Okay. So Yazan, like as we come like very close to like wrapping up this interview, I'm going to start asking some very quick questions. So one of my very quick question would be, what do you think is your biggest failure in life so far, and what do you have learned from it?
My biggest failure in life. Just taking me maybe 4 years of constant failure to actually get one product going.
And
I think it should take less, honestly. I think it should take less. Yeah.
Brilliant. So this is going to be the most interesting round because we call it the elevator pitch round. So we did the first interview with Ty from Market Planning. He holds the record of pitching about his product in just 65 seconds. You get a maximum of 90 seconds. And as of now, he's holding that record. So you will be getting exactly 90 seconds, but let's see if you can break that record. What you got to do is you're just going to talk about your product or how it can really solve like a problem that people are facing, but in less than 90 seconds. But if you break 65 seconds, then you will be holding that record. So are you ready?
I hope so.
Let's go.
So UserPilot is simply a product adoption software. So it helps SaaS companies onboard users and help them use maybe hidden features or normal features. So you have a user coming in to your product, and that user is can be lost. They don't know what they're gonna do. UserPilot basically is a layer that you put on top of your product in order to guide them and help them navigate through that crucial first run, and to help them get to an aha moment, a moment where they see value in your product and they want to come back.
All right, that was 48 seconds. And we'll let the viewers decide how good was it as against Ty. So anyone who's watching the video, and if you've watched the previous interview of Ty, just make sure that you compare and you leave the comments and just let us know whether you were convinced enough from Yazan and his answer, and will you actually go and try UserPilot after hearing his 48-second elevator pitch. Okay, so I'll be closing down this interview, and I'll be asking some very random few questions, and it's going to be completely out of the box question, but you got to answer them very quickly. You ready?
I'll try. Can
Okay.
I pass?
No, you cannot pass. It's just or, so you got to pick one. All right. You got to pick. Yeah, you have to pick one answer.
Oh, so it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, as a SaaS founder, single life or committed life?
Single life.
All right. I hope your future wife sees this interview. All right. Question number 2. Your favorite city in the world?
New York.
Wow, nice. I remember like going to New York a few years ago, Man, it was crazy. It reminded me of like Mumbai right away. It's like that
So,
crowded.
so, and both of my answers are related: single life and New York.
All right. Question number 3. Windows or Mac?
Mac, all
Brilliant.
the way.
Okay. Question number 4. If I give you a magic wand and if you want to change one aspect in the world, what would that be?
People judging other people based on nothing.
Brilliant. I love
Just
that.
like,
I love that. And finally, your favorite food?
whew,
You're taking too long. Come on.
I'm just, I,
It's supposed to be quick answers. Like you don't need to think about
burgers.
All right, brilliant. So that was about it. Those 5 questions. These are just random out of the box questions where we just want like your spontaneous answers. And I really hope your wife sees this interview.
I'm not married. I'm not
But
married.
yeah, you're gonna get married in the future for sure. All right, Rizan. I really want to thank you so much for joining us for the Interview CEO show for the second episode, and I really appreciate you spending and sharing about your life, about your journey with UserPilot, and how you transformed UserPilot from a bot to an onboarding software, and providing a fantastic tool out there. And I really want to thank you. So before we wrap up this interview, do you want to say anything to anyone who will be watching this video or interview today or tomorrow?
Yes, I think this community is like it's fairly new, but from what I can see, it's going to be awesome because you guys are really focused on value rather than other things like other Facebook groups or communities out there. And I hope that I could provide more value in the future in terms of talking about the things that I know about, like user onboarding and product adoption, and the best things to do in that area. So I hope I can be of value, and hopefully you guys are gonna have me soon again.
Sure. Like I would love to have you. And maybe we can organize a webinar in the coming future, and just show the people like the importance of some of the important aspects that's always been missed by. I remember when I launched my first SaaS, I didn't even bother about user onboarding because I thought like people will get to know the software. They will just play around and they will get to know the software, but apparently that didn't happen. So I learned the hard way that if it's easy for you because you have built the software, but it's not easy for
exactly.
But once again, I really want to thank you so much, Yazan, for being in the show and just providing so much value. And once again, just thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Udit.
Thank you, Yazan, and you have an amazing day.
Thank you.